Hello, everybody. Welcome to Railmeets, presented by John Madey and Chris Garbacz, and hosted by Crowley's Yacht Yard at Yachtapalooza 2021. My name is Bill Tate, and I'm going to be moderating the seminar and introducing the speakers. Railmeets is a free platform where crew can find sailboats to sail on. Skippers can find crew, connecting the two dots together, so to speak. They can help you find your perfect boat or crew safely and securely, getting you out on the water in no time at all. Skippers can also manage their race schedules and team, find out more about this amazing free resource, and learn how to use it to build a great team. So a couple of housekeeping things. All of today's seminars will be presented before a live audience and broadcast via Zoom as a webinar. We will be recording all the seminars today. We will post them on the Crowley's Yacht Yard YouTube channel later this week after we do some editing. Please hold all your questions until the end. Those attending online can type them into the chat, and I will announce them to the speakers a little later on. So please hold your questions if you till the end of this, and those attending, again, can type their questions in, and I'll try and relay them. So let me introduce the presenters. Chris Garbacz. Chris grew up along the shores of Lake Michigan, dinghy sailing with her dad. After years away from the water, she wanted to come back and started with the crew training program at Chicago Corinthian Yacht Club. Since then, she has raced thousands of miles, including 9 Chicago and 7 Bayview Mackinac races. She's raced the Conch Republic Regatta, which is Key West to Cuba, and then also the Heineken Regatta in St. Martin. John Madey is the Director of Business Development for Railmeets and a lifelong boater who got involved in civil racing after he found out that there was more to sailing than just floating around. He has been hooked ever since, and John has become a Commodore of the Chicago Corinthian Yacht Club. He's a past Commodore and sits on the board of directors of several sailing organizations. So without further ado, let me turn it over to John. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Tater. Again, I'm John, Chris, and we're going to talk to you about using Railmeets and also about building a great crew. Whether you're a crew member looking for the ride of your life, or you're looking to build that killer team that's going to help you win races. Let's get the presentation going here. So Tater has already kind of told you a little bit about ourselves. I don't know. We need to say anything more on that.
Yeah,
it was a fine introduction. I'm good with that. What we want to talk to you about is building a sailing team. And how to do that. And there's a lot of good ways to do it, a lot of resources, and we're going to talk to you a little bit about some of the resources that are available to you and some of the techniques that we have used to find rides or to staff our boats. Jump in here. So
I will.
I'll take the first couple here. So the first thing is building a great sailing team, of course, is networking. There's a lot of classes available to meet people that you can use to meet people for your team. Joining us for this seminar is actually the first and a great step. Most of these seminars like this are free. I do a lot of them. I've been doing a lot of them on Zoom for the last year. If you would like to host one for your club, please give us a call. We'll give you contact info later on. In Chicago, there's 5 sailing clubs in Chicago, plus the Morph fleet. They're all great resources to find people. Friends of Friends are a great resource. Hey, you know anybody that wants to come out?
And walking the docks on a race day is also a great way.
We a lot of people joke about having a sign that says "Have beer, will crew." But that does work. In fact, I used that once in Switzerland. I was walking the docks on Lake Bodensee. I saw they were getting ready to go out and sail, and I got out on the lake, which was really cool. Of course, social media, Facebook, Sailing Anarchy has a crew pool, but the one that we're going to talk about mostly today is Railmeets. Railmeets has a lot of affiliated clubs. So it's there's different flavors of Railmeets, but it all gets you back to the same database. There's the Corinthian version, Chicago Corinthian version, the Chicago to Mackinac website. The Chicago to Mackinac race crew finder is actually Railmeets. Limb Surf, Morph, Casra, Storm Trysail Club all have versions of Railmeets, or you could just go to railmeets.com. A little bit more work about Yacht Club and some regatta crew finders. A lot of these things will post your information in the clear, so be careful with them and how you do that. Like here's an example of one that is it's an older one that I don't think they use this anymore. They have since switched to Railmeets. But if you look at this, it's got the guys' people's first and last names. It's got their phone numbers out there, their email addresses. Watch your privacy when you do this. So the Chicago Corinthian crew finder is the one we're going to be talking about today, since I'm here in conjunction with Chris about finding a ride. And again, the Railmeets crew finder is user managed. Important thing about that is the information is always up to date. You don't have to track down, gee, a couple of years ago I posted on this thing, and how do I get my information off of it, or how do I change my contact info?
Right. When we were had our crew pool on our Chicago Corinthian Yacht Club's webpage, I was having to monitor it and update it, and people would send me their information. I'd have to get it posted. I'd have to sort of track them down every spring. Is your information updated? Really the only way to manage the crew pool on our page was it was a full-time job managing that. So when we were partnered then with Railmeets, it was very turnkey, and I was able to turn our page, became a direct link branded for our yacht club onto Railmeets. So when you sign on to the Chicago Corinthian Yacht Club's crew pool page, it actually takes you right to Railmeets. And so it's very user-friendly, interchangeable, and I don't have to spend as much time then being an admin on the crew page. It allows the crew person to manage their own account and information. And it's also a much better resource then for all the skippers to be able to access the full breadth of folks that are on the Railmeets page.
Yeah. And the other thing about it, it's secure, and personal data is hidden. So if you go and send a message to someone about trying to find out more about their program, it works kind of like a double-blind system, like Match.com or Craigslist does when you're trying to buy something. They won't see your data until you choose to reveal it to them. And it's always up to date because you maintain your own data. Something changes, you attend a class, you want to put that in your profile, you can, and you do it when you complete it.
I also like the fact that you can put in, when was your last safety at sea? What's your experience? Whatever the skipper has put their information on of wanting to know more, you can include all that information in your profile. So it becomes much easier for skippers to see what kind of experience you've had, how many races you've done, what kind of certifications you had, whether you've had your first aid training. All of that can be listed on Railmeets. And so I've become my information becomes much more valuable to skippers because I can include a lot more of my information than I would normally be able to do on the sort of older crew programs.
Yeah. And one of the other things is you can do active or passive social networking. So there's a lot of people that basically they just put a profile up and they wait for people to call them. And then there are other people that use the messaging function and actually go and call and actively social network on the site.
So I got 2 emails this week off my profile from skippers looking for crew for the season. So it really works.
Right now there's 178 boats and 658 crew from across North America. Actually, it's across the globe. We do have users there's users in Greece and the United Kingdom and try to think. There's always a large contingent in Canada, so you can use it. You can even use it when you're traveling. We had a person come out 2 summers ago. He was on Railmeets. He was knew he was going to be in Chicago for a business meeting. Sent me a note, said, "Hey, I'm going to be in Chicago for this meeting. Can I come out and race with you guys?" I said, yeah, come on. And he came out and had a great time. And we talk to him every once in a while still. So to do a brief little demo, there's a QR code. If you want to take a picture of that QR code, that will take you to the Chicago Corinthian Yacht Club's Crew Finder, the Railmeets version. And Railmeets, one of the things is we do need some basic information from you. And for the login, there's 3 ways to log in. You can use your Google account, you can use your Facebook account, or you can do it the old-fashioned way where you fill out username, your name, username, or I'm sorry, first name, last name, email, and a password. That's really all the information we need from you to make the site work. The Google and Facebook logins, when we talk to them, all we do is we basically send a little note to Google and say, hey, is this guy okay? And if you're already signed into your Google account, Google will respond, yes, he is. This is a legitimate user, and it will sign you in via that system. We'll exchange the information we exchange with them is basically just your name and your email address. And once you get in there, you can provide a little more information to help skippers find you. So you got to give some stuff about you can put in a profile picture, location. Important little thing is there's a little box there. It says show on Crew Finder. If you check that box, it will show you in the Crew Finder. Otherwise, if you don't want to be bothered, you found your dream ride and you don't want to hear from people, you uncheck that box and it will not show you in the Crew Finder. You won't be searchable.
I think one of the neat features too on my profile is that it'll list all the positions on a boat, and I can then rate myself. So if my specialty is I'm usually in the hot box or spin trimmer. So I can put that my skill set level for that, I could put advanced. I can then put down, say for tactician, well, I don't really call tactics that much. So I can put that I'm more of a, basic or intermediate skill set. So you can rate yourself on your skill set on all of the different positions on a boat, which is also very useful for skippers if they're looking for a well-rounded person or they're looking for a specific position. So again, more information.
Yeah. And another thing, if like in my case, I'm a pretty big guy, there's not a lot of boats that want me on the foredeck. And typically that foredeck's just not my thing. There actually is an option on there to select not my thing. And then you won't show up in any foredeck searches or whatever position that you have.
So you don't get a lot of calls from skippers going, oh, so what do you do on a boat? I saw your name. What are you interested in? It can actually starts to filter that out so that you're really getting calls from skippers that are, what you want to be doing on a boat, what your specialty is.
And another thing, Railmeets doesn't actually have an app, but you don't need an app. It was designed from the very beginning to be mobile friendly. So you can just save it to your home screen. And so if you need an app for your phone, you give you a little example there. You just tap on share and then just add the link to your home screen, and it shows up and it looks like there's an app on your phone, but it's not. You don't have to go to the store, to the Apple Store or the Droid Store to download it. It's already on there. Yeah, the question was, I thought it had an app, and it does, sort of.
It has a shortcut.
It has you're basically putting a shortcut on your phone, and that works. The thing was formatted to be mobile friendly, but it also works on whether you've got a small iPhone or a big Droid or an iPad, or you're working on your desktop. In fact, it's kind of funny. We see, looking at the traffic, we noticed that there's an awful lot of traffic in the morning, like before 9 a.m. and like after 5, like between 5 and 6. And we kind of figured it's people on the train basically working on it, looking for their ride for what's going on. So let's talk a little bit more about sailing.
So your sailing family should be fun. This is going to be a group of people that you're going to be spending a lot of time with throughout the summer, depending on whether how much you're racing, how much the program is racing, and whether you're on one boat or multiple boats. But you want to go out and have a good time. This is why we all do this. So finding the right fit for yourself is really important, whether you're a skipper looking to bring crew onto the boat, or whether you're a crew trying to fit into an existing crew. And keep in mind that you're interviewing the skipper and the boat as much as they're interviewing you. So if you go out racing for a day, you get asked to come out, and you go out and you didn't have a good time, or you just don't feel like that, you didn't feel the mojo. If you get invited back, you don't have to go back. This is your opportunity to go out and find the place that you're going to have a great time being with. So it's great to go out and try a bunch of different boats, different fleets, different skippers. Each skipper and its crew is going to have distinct values, habits, and personalities on the boat, the way they talk to each other, the way they interact, and the way the boat is run. They're each just going to have their own way of communicating with their crew. And a skipper may be looking for a very specific skill set and or personality for what they're looking for to fill that space. So if you go out and they didn't ask you to come back, don't take it personally. They may be looking for something very specific.
So some warnings and etiquettes about crew finders, and this works whether you're working with Railmeets or any of the various crew finders that are out there, or networking even. Email back and forth several times. If possible, have a call and chat. You want to get to know the people. You want to ask some things about the program, some good questions. Ask, where's the boat? What kind of boat? The size? What positions? What time? The idea is to really understand if you fit in with this program, or if you can make it. So if you work, way out in the suburbs, and the boat call is for Wednesday nights, 5 o'clock, and you get off at work at 5, probably not going to make it. You also want to ask a little bit about the crew. What's the demographics? Where are they made up? Is it a mix of guys and girls? Is it all guys? Is it all girls? You're having a conversation here, and you want to get to know somebody. You want to have some fun getting to know and talk about sailing.
And you also want to know, how competitive are they? I mean, one of the features on Railmeets says, are they, a skipper can list their boat as, we like to go out and have a great time, sailing and racing. And if we win, that's great. Or, are they a must win, and how competitive are they? So it's really great if you're a crew and you can actually get that information, off of a boat, and you figure out, how competitive am I? How much, do I need to go and win every race? And if I don't, and I just want to have a nice day racing, but I'm getting up on a boat that has to win all the time, is that going to be the right fit? So again, it's really important to talk about with the skipper, figure out what your needs are, your interests are, and what the interests of the boats that you're talking to are. How competitive are they? How much are they racing?
Yeah, and to add a little bit to that, we have 3 levels of interest there. I think we have casual, winning is a plus, and must win. And so you can really dial in with your skipper as to where you want to be and what you want to do. This is not that different from online dating. It's kind of a funny analogy to make, but you are matching yourself with a boat and a team. And are you going to get along with the team? Is this somebody that you're going to want to spend your summers with? And a great way to, and you see a lot of people, if you went out in the lot here, we're at a boatyard for the people that are online, and you see a lot of people working on boats today. This kind of opportunity is a great opportunity to get to know the team, get to know the skipper by coming out and working on the boat. And if they turn out to be a bunch of jerks, you can walk away without getting stuck on the water.
And if you realize it was a really great day, you really had fun working on the boat with them, you're probably going to have a great time out on the water with them.
Right. And of course, watch your information. Watch who you give your phone number and your email address to. Railmeets has the messaging facility to keep that help you keep that private.
So, how to interview a skipper about how their crew works. Ask about how what the crew dynamics are like on board. How many people are typically on the crew for that race day on a typical race? What's your ratio of men to women, if that's important for you? What kind of team atmosphere do they have? We talked about that a little bit, whether it's a must win or winning's a plus. How long has that core racing crew been together? I've been on boats where you get on board and you're at the dock and everybody's having a great time, and you get out on the race course and they start bickering with each other, and there's not one voice making the decisions. It becomes a community event. And that is really telling, how do you respond in that situation if you've got 8 people giving direction? There are other boats that I've been on where I've gone out on a race with them and a crew that's been together a long time, and it's seamless. They don't even have to talk to each other. Somebody's, they're trimming a line and they hand the line, their arm goes back and there's somebody else there to grab it to start tailing. They work together. They know exactly what that ballet movement is going to be when they're going into their maneuvers. And it's really just amazing to be on that kind of program where that level of trust and communication is there, where they don't have to say anything. And so knowing for yourself, how do you respond if people start bickering? What kind of atmosphere do you want to be around? Important things to ask your skippers. How do things work? Well, how do you do if there's a disagreement? How does this all happen? Start thinking about these types of questions. So, how are problems handled on board during the race, after the race? A lot of skippers will say, we just keep racing. Something happened, just keep racing. We'll do a debrief at the end of the race. So do you get back to the dock and everybody sits down, and are people blaming each other, or are people saying, oh, that was my fault. This is what I'll do better the next time, or how can we make it better? Are there debriefs where you're focusing together as a team? Who's in charge? Who's responsible for making decisions during the race? Tactics? Is it one person? As I said, it could be is it a race by committee? How are things handled, and what's the hierarchy?
So if you're a skipper and you're talking about prospective crew or talking to prospective crew, some good questions to ask. What's their experience? Have they ever been on a boat before? What have they done for any education? Crew school, which is Chris's program, is that I hear somebody came from crew school. I'm like, hey, this guy at least knows the basics around the boat. There's also other programs in Chicago, Skipjack's Crew U, various other sailing schools. Another question to ask your crew is make sure they're available. I talked about this before. If you want to make sure that the crew can show up and be on time when you need them. And are they willing to help on the boat? I love getting, as a skipper, as a boat owner, I love getting help on the boat. Quite frankly, people that just come out for the big races, they don't come back. They usually don't last more than a season with me, because I want them to. I want help, and I want them to be bonding with the team at other times. Tell them about your program. When, where, what type of sailing are you doing? We're talking a lot about racing here, but this also works for cruising, and there is an option as a skipper and as a crew person to check off that you're looking for cruising. And then also you can talk about things like the social events that the team attends. I always talk about, we have a big crew barbecue at the end of every season where I make some great hamburgers, and everybody's invited from the crew to come hang out, tell sailing stories from the year. Interview tips for both is keep it fun. You're talking about sailing here, so let's have some fun with this. But be honest about your abilities, the condition of the boat, and the rest of the teammates. If you BS, you're going to get found out the first day. So just be honest about it and make sure that you fit and your expectations are leveled. And again, this should be a fun conversation about sailing.
So all crew aboard should be treated with respect. Basically no yelling, no shoving. You certainly don't want to have any kind of sexual harassment issues on board. You want to treat others the way that you would want to be treated. Like I said, if you're going to go out on a competitive race day, there can be, 3 or 4 races a day. So you're out on the boat from 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning until easily 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. If you're racing Saturday and Sunday, all season long, that's a lot of time together. And if you feel uncomfortable on the boat, make sure you tell your skipper, or, you don't want to just sort of leave and go find another boat if it's an opportunity for you to work through those problems with the skipper. And if you're not comfortable, very easily go find yourself another boat.
And a word on yelling. As a skipper, I'm going to put a word on yelling here. Sometimes in the heat of the moment, with the wind blowing and everything, you do have to yell. But there's a difference between yelling because something needs to absolutely get done for safety versus just chastising the crew for just keel hauling them just for the heck of it.
So when to change boats, you may want to decide, as we said, find a different boat. And it could be because the boat sold or it relocated out of the area, your interests changed, or your time commitments may have changed if you've got family commitments, school commitments. So if you've gained a lot of experience, or you want to gain an experience in a different position that you might not be able to have on that boat. So if you, for example, spent a number of years as a jib trimmer, but you wanted to learn to go helm, but the skipper on your boat always helms, and you want to get helm experience, you may want to go find a boat that will give you the opportunity to go out and get that helm experience. So that's another opportunity where you can be listing that skill set and be talking with a skipper, other skippers about, hey, I would like to learn how to do X. Is that going to be an opportunity to do that on your boat? And so you have a number of boats that you can race with in a bunch of different positions that give you the opportunities that you're looking for.
So some more how to find a boat. My personal favorite is Railmeets.com. Of course, I'm one of the co-founders. So, but there's two sections across the top. You'll see a crew finder, which is skippers looking for crew, and boat finder, which is crew looking for boats. Other things is checking the local yacht club bulletin boards. That's the old standby. It still works. Check out other sailing resources. This is the walk the docks model. Go bring a sign, bring some beer.
We'll work for food.
Have crew. We'll crew for beer, or have beer. We'll crew. That's it.
Yeah.
Go to your local harbor an hour before the race, and just hang out and look and see what's going on. Typical Wednesday night in Chicago, the boat call is like 5-6 p.m. 5 o'clock's a great time to be walking around the docks and saying, hey, need anybody? You see anybody that looks like a sailor? Hey, you need some help tonight.
Yeah, at Montrose, it's really great because the Rhodes fleet actually, they crane, all of their boats live in the compound. So their boats get craned into the water every week. And so every time they sail, and that's a great opportunity. The Rhodes fleet is always looking for extra sailors. And so it's really easy to connect with the skippers while they're busy putting the boats in the water. Say, hey, do you need an extra person tonight? Do you know of anybody that needs, extra crew? It's a great way to really connect with the skippers right there and then while everybody's getting out to go racing. It can be a little bit harder on some of our other docks now that have the gate codes, but there's always people hanging around, and everybody knows everybody. So it's a great community. The more boats that are out on the start line racing, just the more fun it's going to be for everybody.
So if you're on your mobile device, if you look in the upper right corner, you'll see those 3 bars. If you click on that, you'll see boat finder, crew finder. You'll see all the different options for it. If you click on boat finder, crew finder. Boat finder. You'll take you to that page, and then you can start searching. You can search by area. Again, Railmeets has kind of become a global site. And there are boats in the UK looking for help. There are boats in San Diego. There's boats in San Francisco, Florida. They're really all over the place. There's 200 and something boats in the Great Lakes right now. Chicago is definitely our biggest. It's our hometown. It's we got started in Chicago. Kind of an interesting little story about. I'll tell the interesting story at the end about how we got our start. So, but you can use some filters. to search down and find a boat that looks pretty good. And then from there, you can send a message to the boat. And basically it sends the message to the owner and the crew bosses if they have them selected. And then somebody will or should get back to you. Same with if you are a skipper, you get these messages. In those messages, tips to put in there is what you're looking for. I'm a beginning sailor. I'm looking to get out on Wednesday nights. So put a little description as to what's going on, and that initiates the conversation. Couple ways to get support for Railmeets. There is an FAQ page that answers probably most of your questions. Like us on Facebook. I try and post weekly tips, tricks, and then other interesting stuff from our Railmeets partners. So you might see something from our friends in the UK one week, from Storm Trysail Club the next week, from Chicago Yacht Club the following week. So we try and keep everybody up on everything that's going on. We also have a blog, which is similar to our Facebook page. And when in doubt, send us an email, john@railmeets.com, or my partner and co-founder, Marco @railmeets.com. We are pretty good at getting back to you guys.
So as I said, I run a crew school at Chicago Corinthian Yacht Club. This year we went virtually online. We have 55 registered attendees this year, and it's a 6-week program on Wednesday nights. So we've got it geared so that people start realizing, hey, Wednesday night's an important night when we finish just before the racing season starts. So every year we have between 40 and 50 on average folks enrolled in our program. As I said, this year we have 55. So I have come May 12th, when our group this year graduates, I'm helping 55 people this year find boats to race with or go cruising with. So our goal at Chicago Corinthian Yacht Club through our Corinthian University programs is we have a lot of educational programs. We do seminars, we have the crew school, we have adult sailing, we have junior sailing, but through all of that, it's to grow sailing and to get people out on boats. So just because they've graduated the program, we don't just say, okay, have a great time, hope you find a boat. I'm out there actively with my students throughout the whole summer, trying to get them onto boats, and having a program like John's has been really, really helpful for them to get started and to have a place to go. And you can do skipper meet and greets, walk the docks, but we're really working with them to encourage them to make their profiles and encouraging skippers to take new folks out. So if you're new to sailing, there's really a lot of opportunities to get out there. Lots of skippers are looking for crew. And with last year's pandemic, a lot of boats didn't go out in the water. There was who knows where the crews have gone. It's a regroup year. A lot of skippers are out there wanting to put their boats in the water this year. They're wanting to race. They're looking for crew. I'm getting a lot of inquiries, and a lot of people are buying boats. I mean, nothing like being cooped up for a year to remind you of how beautiful Chicago is, how great it is to be out on the water, and to be able to connect people with either a new passion or reigniting a new passion, and getting people out on the water is really important. So my goal is to grow sailing and get people on the water, and having a program like Railmeets and connecting people together is really great.
Yeah, and that works. That goes for Railmeets. Our whole thing is connecting people and getting skippers connected to other crew and helping everybody get a ride. There's also a crew organization feature on the boat, and a couple people that's in the audience here have already asked me about it. You can put your boat up in here, and then you can also put your schedule. As we receive schedules from the various clubs as well as the sailing associations, we upload them, and you can add those events to your boat's profile. And then once you have them up, your crew can then go into there and tell you when they're available, and then you can go and confirm them or put them on standby, so you can build your team for any given race.
Another feature that I like, I've been a crew where I've listed myself look as a crew person looking for a boat, but I've also been a crew chief helping to manage boat programs, crew management, crew programs, racing programs. And one of the features that you may think is sort of silly, but I think is actually a great feature. When John and Marco were first starting Railmeets, and I was a crew chief on a boat. I was one of their test boats. So for the first season we were working, and he was like, "Oh, does this work? What else? What other features would you like to see?" And one of them is, well, we go out on Wednesday nights, or are people going to bring guests out? That's when we get to bring our friends out with us. But a skipper still needs to know how many people are going to show up. So there's a place on Railmeets where you can add guests on race days. Who's going to bring the lunch, right? Who's going to bring beverages? Who's bringing ice? You can list all those things out on Railmeets on your race program, so that you can then assign. Not only as a crew can the crew choose, oh, okay, today I'm going to bring sandwiches, and next week it'll be somebody else. But you can list food, you can list beverages, you can list ice. So again, a lot of that extra information that you may not get from another program, that makes it so easy for your crew chief, and really relieves the burden on the skipper of having to manage a lot of that information. So having those features is helpful.
Thank you. Yeah. And if you look at the Railmeets, when you sign up for an event, you'll see a ramen bowl. That means you're bringing food, or a martini glass. That means you're bringing the drinks. The story I was going to tell is how we kind of got our start was a few years ago. One of my crew, Marco, my partner on this, he came up to me, and we were using another another sailing organizer that is big in Chicago. I won't mention their name, but he was like, "John, I can do better than this." So I said, "Okay, smart guy, go ahead. Let's show me what you got." And he came up with basically the basics of Railmeets, and the crew started using it, and my crew that also crewed on other boats were raving about it and telling the other skippers. So then I had other skippers coming and saying, "Hey, John, how do we get on this?" And so then we created it and opened it up to other people. And then the crew finder kind of came out of that, where people said, "It'd be nice if I could network with other people." And we said, "Yeah, that'd be a good idea." And we created the crew finder. So that's kind of the genesis of Railmeets. And right now, like I said, we've got over currently, the statistics I quoted earlier was like 160 something boats and 400 crew members looking for rides, looking for matches. But total, we've got close to 500 boats and 30. I think as of this morning, it was about 3,200 users, and we had about 10 to 15 users per day on the site, and probably about 3 to 5 boats per week right now.
Yeah, what I like is in my crew school program this year, we've got 6 people from out of state, and which is new, right? We're going online, and we sort of thought, what are we going to be able to do this year? And getting to expand to having folks from across the nation, East Coast and West Coast, is being able to say, okay, you're not in Chicago, we can't hook you up with a boat, here, but through Railmeets, I've got a gal who's in San Francisco, and I can say, whoa, Railmeets is a great program, and we can find you boats on the, where you live. So just because you're taking our program and you're not here in Chicago with us. So I was thinking, hey, if I go off to vacation somewhere, I can look up on Railmeets or on a program and network and say, oh, I'm good. Like John said, I'm going to be in town somewhere. Easier to find a boat.
Yeah, and our friends at the Arizona Yacht Club have actually encouraged people to do just that. They said if you're traveling in the winter, because their season, it's too hot to sail in Arizona in the summer, so they basically sail in the winter. So we talk a lot. I'll talk a lot on the Facebook page and on the blog about go check out what's going on in Arizona for crew, and they have told me they're always acceptable to having people come out.
So we've been up here talking for a while. I'd really like to hear any questions that you folks have either here in the tent or online. We've got the chat window open, so if anybody out there wants to type in some questions, we'd be happy to answer them. Yes.
Muzzle. Mm-hmm. Sure, we do a lot of our functionality has come from suggestions from users. On your profile, you can actually put dietary preferences, and that was from someone that had celiac disease. So you can go and check off so that your skipper knows that there's dietary. Yeah, so you could put that on on your. In your case, you guys know what's going on. But if you were on another boat and you were keeping kosher, you could specifically go and put on there that that you're certain right that you had the dietary restriction. Exactly.
So, John, we've had a question come in on the chat that says, "Good morning. I'm on the Railmeets site and I don't see where to filter by location."
Okay, so what you want to do if I'm going to assume that they're on a PC or some sort of a laptop or a computer, and you probably clicked across the top, and you either clicked on you're on your phone. I'm guessing that's phone.
On my phone.
Okay, that makes it even easier because I can do it too and go along with you. So let me get on the site real quick here. So let me sign in. Yeah, so you go, so I'm going to click on Boat Finder, and then there's a blue box on the left side that says filters. And if you click on that filter, then you can drill down your location a bit. So you can click on, since we're in Chicago, I'm going to click on Illinois. And then you can click on filter again, and then you can click on Chicago or Waukegan, our two choices there. And then you can click on harbor if you want to drill it down that deep. But in all likelihood, you probably don't. There's 76 boats currently looking for help in Chicago. I hope that helped.
Did that answer your question online? Feel free to send us an update on chat if that information was useful.
The blue box on the left side of the screen.
I clicked on the state.
Yeah. Okay. And you click on your state, and then some states they drill down really deep, like Chicago. We've got a lot of boats, and we've got to drill down by harbor. Other states, it's just in general areas. So it kind of depends on
where you're located
and how the platform has evolved over there.
What would you say is your second most popular state after Illinois for Railmeets at the moment?
Illinois, Michigan, Canada, Lake Ontario. We have a alliance with the Lake Ontario Sailing Association, and there's a lot of Canadian crew and boats. And then we're also with the Mass Bay Sailing Association. So we've got a lot of stuff on the Chesapeake, a lot of users there.
Okay. Do we have any other questions out in the virtual web?
All right. Well, if you got any other questions, feel free to send it to me, John@railmeets.com, or my partner, Marco, @railmeets.com, and we'll get back to you. And we're also over at the in the tent in the vendor area there, and you can come by and see me talk about Railmeets, or Chris can talk to you about Corinthian University.
Yeah. Do you have any questions out here in the tent for us? Nope.
Okay. Very good. Well, thanks, and thanks to Crowley's for putting this on.
Yes, thank you very much, Yachtapalooza. This has been a great event. The sun's shining, so feel free to join some more webinars or come down.
There you go sand the boat bottom now.
Thank you, John and Chris. We're signing off. Thank you.